Where does Kentucky need to be analytically and numbers wise going into the postseason for us Cats fans to feel confident about this team? Well, we're going to break it all down here on episode 104 of the Big Blue Breakdown.
Bet you didn't know there's a place where Kentucky football and basketball fans unite. Welcome to Big Blue Breakdown. Whether you bleed blue or just love a good game, we've got the latest stories, hottest takes, and a whole lot of hometown pride. Hit play and join the conversation. This is your home for all things Kentucky sports.
Welcome in, everybody, to the Big Blue Breakdown, episode 104 here on the podcast. I appreciate you guys tuning in here and listening to this one. If you guys are listening on YouTube here, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and turn on the notifications. Best way to help out the channel. And then do the same thing for podcasts on Spotify by following, sharing, liking, commenting. Again, it's the best way to help out the channel. If you haven't already, go check us out on social media. You're missing extra content if you don't do that. The @ is BigBlue_BDown, and you can find us on TikTok, X, and Instagram. So, and this one we got a little bit different of an episode. We're going to be talking analytically, specifically looking at the end of the year for us to kind of feel confident moving forward, at least into the postseason. Kentucky does have a very, very big matchup against St. John's this Saturday. We'll be getting into that, I believe, Thursday or Friday. But I really want to jump into this to just kind of give an outlook on where does Kentucky need to be analytically at the end of the year. That goes for specific numbers for this team: shooting numbers, rebounding numbers, defensive numbers, KenPom rankings, and record for the SEC by the end of the year, general record, and kind of how everything matches up, and where we need to be in those situations, and where we are now. So before we get into all of this here, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break in this episode to tell you about our friends over at W. Make sure to use code BIGBLUE10 to get 10% off your order every time you use it. We'll be right back here on the Big Blue Breakdown, episode 104. Hello, everybody. We wanted to take a break in this episode to tell you about our friends over at W Energy. W is a clean energy drink that is made to give you focus with no crash, jitters, or angst like any other energy drink. Some facts about W. Number one, it's zero sugar, artificial colors, or dyes, or hidden ingredients. It is also gluten-free. Number two, all flavors are unique and custom made by W. You'll never taste anything like a W drink. Number three, the drinks are $1 less, guys. That is cheaper than Starbucks or any canned drink. Lastly, it is made in the U.S. It is close to home. Guys, if you guys are looking forward to going to a Kentucky football game or Kentucky basketball game and you need some energy, get W. W is the perfect thing for you working out and you need some energy. You need W. You need W throughout the day. It is for you. Use promo code BIGBLUE10 to get 10% off every single order. Guys, it not only just helps you guys be able to have a clean energy drink that you can use all the time with the tubs that they give you. It helps me and it helps the channel keep growing. And with you guys, if you guys do that, it helps us post more content and helps them, guys. So it's a win-win-win for everybody. But thank you guys so much for your time here. Please go check out W. Check out their website, and when you are about to purchase something, use promo code BIGBLUE10 to get 10% off your order. Alrighty, guys, welcome back into episode 104 here. So to kind of break this up here, how we're going to go through this. So we're going to take a look at KenPom numbers, okay? We're going to look at a lot of analytical things here and tell you where KenPom, where we're at, where we need to be. Okay, then we're going to move on to specific numbers already for this team in just shooting, everything like that, where we're at, where we need to be. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to talk basically the big and major thing here is schedule and percentage of wins and where we need to be record-wise to feel good going into the postseason. So, let's go ahead and take a look at the Cats right now. So they moved up one spot in KenPom after the win against Indiana. They move up to number 19. They sit 7-4. They have the 36th ranked offense in the country, offensive rating, and then 16th rated defense and 144th adjusted tempo. So 19th right now. Okay, it's solid. I believe we ended last year at the 15th spot, ended up getting a 3 seed last year, was put in a solid position last year, to be completely honest. So the Cats, right now, 19th, 36th offense, 16th defense, and 144th adjusted tempo. I'm not really worried about that adjusted tempo number as much as I am the overall defense and offense. So you take a look here. I think with the schedule and just honestly how we play, I think Kentucky, for us to feel comfortable going into the postseason, I think Kentucky needs to be 12 or higher. And I know that's saying a lot, but analytically, KenPom really likes his team. Still, even with 4 losses. So I think Kentucky needs to be 12 or higher, and I will feel really confident going into the postseason. So from right now, I think that jump would be 7 spots. I think 12 or better is a really good spot for the Cats. Offensively, I think we might be a little limited this year, especially with the shooting. Now, Mark Pope does come out and quote that it says that we will be a good shooting team by the end of the year. I think specifically talking about 3-point shooting. The free throw numbers have been very good, but the 3-point shooting has not. So looking at that, are we kind of limited from what we've seen so far? Yes. So the number that I would put the offense is at 25. Okay, you can get to, specifically looking at 25, you can get to the offensive rating of 25. You got to feel good right there. And then defensively, you look at it defensively. We set a really good spot right now, and this may be a physical defensive team moving forward. Maybe that's the team that Kentucky is, but 16th is where they. Excuse me, 16th is where they lie right now. I think you see a 10 or better. I think a top 10 defense, you got to feel really good about that going into the postseason. I'm talking about before SEC tournament play. So a top 25 offense and a top 10 defense and a top 12 team overall according to the metrics of KenPom. That's how I would feel good about this team moving forward, and that's where I would really have this. Now, do I want to see the tempo go up because of our lack of half-court play? Yes, and I would say get that to 125, and you feel good about that. You're going a little bit faster than you are now, and you probably are getting out in transition where you have had a lot of success because of the lack of success in the half-court offense. So I would say top 12. Right there, which is, I think it's very doable. It's at 7 spots from where it is now, and then I would say 10th, top 25 offense, which is probably the lowest thank here. Top 25 offense, a top 10 defense, and I would say get to about 125 on the adjusted tempo rating. So those are the 3 metrics according to KenPom that I would really feel confident if we were to get to those spots. Now, is that tangible? Yes, I do think that is very tangible with this team. You're possibly getting JQ back, which is going to be a very major aspect. I think that defensive number is only going to continue to rise with how this team has been playing. I think we're going to continue to see that improvement, even with SEC playing coming up. So I think you actually see that number rise to that top 10. I feel very confident about that. The one that I don't feel confident about really is that offensive rating. Until we see that shooting get better, until we see a more complete offense, except for just dribble, drive, get inside, and play bully ball and be an offensive rebounding team, until we see the shots go down, I can't sit here and confidently tell you that we're going to have that top 15 offense. I can say if you can shoot just a little bit better, which I think that we can and we will, and you continue to just dominate in getting to the rim and getting those offensive rebounds, that's when you get that top 25 offense, and that's where you kind of feel good about this team and where they're at. So I would say, again, the final numbers here, top 12 team going in overall into the postseason. This is all according to KenPom right here. a top 25 offense, a top 10 defense, I think, which is the most tangible out of all of those, and 125th adjusted tempo, especially if the offensive half-court play is lacking where you can get out and you can run. So those are the numbers right there for KenPom, where I would feel comfortable at the end of the year. Okay, so now we're going to go specifically look at this team and their numbers. Really paying a close attention to that 3-point percentage. Okay, not really the percentage, but I would say the average makes per game on the shot attempts, which I guess would factor into the percentage. So, going to the Cats percentages here as a team, okay? As a team, Kentucky is averaging on their 3-point percentage 32.2. Now I think this is skewed. Let me be completely honest. I think this is skewed a little bit higher because of the non-competitive games that we've played and we have been able to knock down. We've not been able to shoot well at all against good competition. Let's be completely honest here. So this number, I mean, Pope came out and said this number will be better. I mean, this team will be a good shooting team by the end of it. Are there signs? Sort of. I think the personnel is better than what people think. I think the main guy that is going to have to step up is going to be Cam Williams, because he's so playable right now in the most positive way. Like, he's so playable he's an elite defender. He's an elite athlete overall. He has got the size. He's like 6'8", elite defender, elite rebounder, and he's shooting like 85% inside the arc. So this guy is getting it done around the rim. Just hasn't been able to knock down a 3-point shot, in which we've seen him do at Tulane. So that, I think, a big factor here. So this number does have to get better for us to be better offensively and get that KenPom number up, and for us to start winning games, because there's going to be games where we're going to have to knock down shots like this to win games. And the physicality and the offensive rebounding and getting it to the lane and finishing around the rim and just defensive play isn't going to do it every single time. Is it going to do it consistently? Maybe. Maybe it will. But even a game like this upcoming one against St. John's, you're probably going to need some 3-point shooting, because they're going to match up with you so well inside. So I believe this number by the end of the year, looking at it with conference play coming up, if this number gets to 35%, I feel really, really confident, because you're not playing, you're actually shooting solid against good teams, and that's what really matters. I would say 35%. If you can get your 3-point shooting up to 35% by the end of the year, you have to feel amazing about this. And then you move on to free throw percentage, where we have been a very, very good free throw shooting team all year, shooting almost 75%. You get that up to 76, 78, with how much we've been getting to the line because of our dribble drive penetration, us getting inside the paint. Get that to maybe a 76, get the 3-point shooting up to 35, and I feel good as an overall thing. That means we're knocking down shots against good teams. And here's the thing. For an average 3-point makes per game, yes, I think this is going to be a very, very big one. I think you have to get this number to from a range of 6 to 8 for us to win games consistently, instead of just playing bully ball. You're going to play bully ball sometimes and not shoot as many threes. We shot 15 threes in the last game and made 3, okay? It was better than the North Carolina game where we only made 1. But here's my thing in it. You get to, because we are so good, we're such a good dribble drive team at getting to the lane and being very, very physical. And now with JQ with a very, very good inside presence, that's really going to give you that inside presence, especially with Mo Diabate. I mean, Brandon Garrison, we've seen Cam Williams. Let's say all these guys, amazing at getting to the 2-point right there and making those shots consistently and getting out in transition and getting fouled and stuff. But then you have to add on the 3-point shots. So I would say 6 to 8 would be the range there. on 20 attempts. I think 6 to 8 on 20 attempts. You got to feel really, really good about that. I know I said 35% average, but I think you get to 6 to 8 threes per game. I'm really just looking at 6 here. That'd be double what we made last game. That would be, instead of 9 points, we have 18 points off of threes. You get to that 6 to 8 range on 20 attempts. Okay, let's look this up. I want to figure out this number here. So 6 out of 20 percentage. That's 30%. That's 30%. That is like 3 less than what we're shooting right now. Okay, let's say we get to, sure. Let's say we get to 7 out of 20. Where Pope wants us shooting 30 from the beginning of the season, but 7 out of 20. 7 out of 20 is 35%. 7 is the number here. 7 out of 20 attempts, we make threes. You got to feel really good about the number. I would just say 6 to 8, maybe even 5 to 8. You got to feel really good about those numbers. Anything better than that is obviously absurdly good for us. You add being, instead of making 3 threes that game, you make 5 or 6, 2 or 3 more threes than you are now. That is such a big difference in this team and in the outlook of this team. So I would say get that number up to 35% average and make about, I'm going to even move it down to 5 to 8 threes a game. 5 to 8 threes a game, you got to feel really, really confident about this. And then the steals, I think, is going to be a very, 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 very big thing. This team consistently has shown that they can steal the ball. Now, I know the numbers don't really show that. Well, I mean, 7.7 is a pretty solid number. You look at this here. Indiana turned the ball over 17 times. I believe we had we had a really good amount of steals. And then you look at the North Carolina game, where again we had a really, really good, nice amount of steals. This team can cause turnovers. Simply. We did really, really good at not turning the ball over against Indiana. You get that number up to 9. You're turning teams over 9 times a game. Steals. This isn't just them turning the ball over. This is steals. So that number can still be higher on their turnovers. You get a number up to 9. You got to feel really, really good about it. Now, here's a hot take. I think Kentucky will be a better three-point shooting team with Jane Quaintance. Not because he will change you from beyond the arc by himself. I think he can knock down an open 3? 1,000%. He gives you that ability. But it's because him at the top of the key with some of the zoom action, maybe that can get going. But some big numbers here that I would say, get that number to 35%, 5 to 8 range in these big-time games, and you got to feel really, really good because you're such a good 2-point defense and the 2-point offense, and the offensive rebounding could be your statement factor, and then you add in what, 6 to 9 more points because of that. Really big factor there. Okay, before we dive into the big major part, which is the schedule, we're going to go and take a quick break and tell you about our friends over at Bluegrass Elite. Make sure you use code BBB15 to get 15% off your order every time you use it. We'll be right back here on the Big Blue Breakdown, episode 104. All right, real quick before we keep going, I've got to tell you about our new partners over at Bluegrass Elite. They've got some really nice Kentucky gear, clean designs, stuff that actually looks good on game days. I've been checking out some of their shirts and hoodies myself, and the cool thing is they're hooking y'all up with 15% off every single time you order. Just use my code BBB15 at checkout. So if you want to rep the Cats and save a little money while doing it, hit that link down in the description of this video. Guys, go check them out. Really, really good gear over there. Make sure to use my promo code BBB15 to get 15% off your order every time you use it. Let's go back to the episode. Sorry for the pause there. Okay, welcome in to the last segment here of this episode. And obviously, the most important part of this episode for sure. So, the thing that I am taking a look at right now is Bart Torvik. Now, I don't have the access to the predictions for KenPom, which I do think they'll be very, very close to Bart Torvik in the game-by-game schedule here. So, Bart Torvik has Kentucky projected to win 18 games and lose 13 and go 10-8 in conference play. The conference play number is not bad at all. Now he does, Bart Torvik does have us losing to St. John's by 3 and a 40% chance to win that game. And then he has us losing to Bama and also losing to LSU and Tennessee back-to-back. But the conference number isn't actually that bad, 10-8. So, excuse me. And then he has us projected here as a 6th seed in the tournament. Not bad for what we've shown so far in his projections. And he has us about with a 78% chance to make the tournament. So where does Kentucky need to be record-wise and like schedule-wise, record-wise, specifically looking at conference play-wise, for us to feel confident going into the postseason and getting a quality seed? Hopefully, I mean, 6 seed, for what we've shown so far, isn't bad at all. So, again, he has us going 18-13 and 10-8 in conference play. Okay, he has us beating Florida at the end of the year, Texas A&M, South Carolina, UGA. There's a lot of must-wins on here against teams like Mississippi State is just horrid, absolutely horrid this year. Missouri is not that great. South Carolina is not that great. LSU is actually okay. Georgia is okay this year. Texas is not that great. Texas A&M is iffy. That's just kind of like an overlook here. So, looking at it, Kentucky has to beat St. John's, and it's not a must-win, but they sort of. They need to win that basketball game. It's that simple. They need to pick up that win against St. John's, because that puts you so far forward, because then you have an easy win against Bellarmine in the next game where you're projected to win that by 30 points. And then you have Bama to serve, right? Here's the thing. Your first 3 games after Bama in conference play are so winnable. And I'm not saying Bama's not winnable. You got Missouri at home. You got Mississippi State at home. You go to LSU, who is solid, but you should win that basketball game. Like, you should beat LSU. And there's a chance where, okay, let's say you do lose to Bama at Bama in the first SEC game. You still start off, you're still, okay, let's say you beat St. John's, though, right? You still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're 5-1 in your last 6 games. And that would be, we're 7-4 now, 5-1, so it'd be 12-5. I think the conference number. Okay, so I think Kentucky needs to beat St. John's. Obviously, they need to beat St. John's. Okay, that gives you the A right there. To me, I think Kentucky needs to go. I don't want to set a unrealistic expectation here. I think Kentucky needs to go 13-5 or better in conference play this year. And that's going to be tough. Yes. But the conference isn't as good as it was last year. Teams like Auburn are not nearly as good as they were last year. Neither is Florida. Neither is Bama, honestly. Texas is not good, not that great. Mississippi State, terrible. Vandy is good. Vandy's really good. So is Arkansas. Oklahoma is not that good. Tennessee is solid, winnable game. UGA is solid, winnable game, though. South Carolina is not good. You know what I mean? So the league is sort of down this year, and you have to be able to take advantage of that. So the number that I would say here is, okay, let's say they beat St. John's, which I think is a must win. You go, what was the number? 13-5, right? 13-5. So what's 5 plus 9? That would be a better record than last year. Nine losses. Let's say this. Let's say this team has what would the final record be with that? 21-10. 21-10. That'd be 13-5. 21-10 is the number here. 13-5 in conference play, and that would be a win over St. John's. 20-10, and you got to feel confident with that. With that, really, really solid wins. They would have to be in this scenario. So, I would think you would be sitting around that. With this right here, not going into the SEC tournament at this point, but with this specifically right here, you would be looking, I believe, at from a 3 to 6 perspective, and I think you're more realistically looking at a 4 or a 5. Okay, I would say 4. That's just what I would say here, and then you got to feel good from how we started for the rest from the season. So that would be my analytical where this team needs to be at the end of the year for us to feel confident going to the postseason. I appreciate you guys listening to episode 104 here, and I cannot wait to talk about the St. John's game. Very, very big one. It has to be a win for the Cats. Not a must win, but you kind of need to win it. But talk to you guys very, very soon. I appreciate you guys tuning in here and listening to this one. Catch you guys soon, and as always, go Cats.